How's it going, everyone? This is Smarshmallow HD here, back at you with another video. This will be my guide for beginner supports that don't know the role fully. This video will be in full depth information of how the role works and the advantages of the role, and also all the different tips that I can give you guys to succeed in this role. So what is the support's definition? The support role, although it is the least played role in the game, it is the most crucial role to be in. The support does their very best to try and aid their team to victory from start to finish. Supports are paired with an ADC or marksman, some might call it, in the bot lane, creating a 2v2 lane. Supports control the flow of the game and must have a great understanding about map control on the Rift. So many League players ask this question: is it possible to carry as a support? 100% yes, you can carry as a support. Why? Because you are the backbone of your team, that is the unsung hero, because without the support, the mid laner and the ADC wouldn't be able to stay alive. Due to multiple support items that help the team sustain themselves in team fights and skirmishes, examples I can name are Locket of the Iron Solari, Face of the Mountain, Redemption. These items provide team shields and protection for your teammates. Terms to know for support: bully or harass lane opponent. This will also tie into trading in lane. The second term being lane presence, and the final term being peel, are three must-know terms to achieve as a support. For the first term, bully, harass, poke. This is best to do early in between levels 1 through 6. If you are ahead, it is essential to do this to zone the ADC off the wave, so he/she will be denied creeps, which in return puts your AD carry ahead of the lane opponent. As this clip rolls out, you'll see that we are level 2 to their level 1, so we recognize this and we get the actual out trade that we were looking for. So I was looking to bully and harass the Vayne, and then we ended up actually pushing Karma out of lane as much as we can, and then we forced them to use their pots to force them to stay into the lane, and then in return it actually makes us have the advantage overall inside the lane. So for the second term, it's going to be lane presence. It is always good to know lane presence, and a lot of supports won't bring this up. Most don't even realize that they're doing it. It is always important to stay near your ADC early, unless if there is some jungler invading your jungler's camps, then you can help pick them off. Just let your ADC know to be careful since you are assisting other team members. Also, another example I would use is if there's support recalls and it's 2v1 inside the lane and you don't see their support, zone the ADC off the wave and try to get a pick onto the AD carry to deny him any farm and push them out of the lane either by eliminating him or forcing him to recall back to base. Vice versa if the support is in the lane alone. So this is just a quick example I was just talking about in the 2v1. If you don't see their support or their AD carry, you try to force the person out of their lane because you zone them off the experience and any sort of gold that you would have. Now you do the same thing for ADCs. If the ADCs are alone in lane, you force them off the wave so they can't get any experience. Also, to make what I said a little clearer, if you see a 1 vs 2 in the lane and you want to force them off, make sure you have clear vision of the jungler and make sure you know where the jungler is at all times. Like in this situation, we did have the Lee Sin in the mid lane about to fight our Skarner, and we already forced them out of lane, so we didn't have to worry about him, and we had clear vision of him, so that's why we forced them off the lane, just to make that clear. So this is always to keep in mind, is always know where their jungler is as well. Third and final term, peel. Peel is 100% your job to help the ADC stay alive in team fights. Most questions about this are protecting your AD carry or going after the enemy carry. Always protect your ADC. Since you know this is your job, don't ever rely on someone else to do it. Because if your AD carry dies and you were peeling for him and you did the best you could, there's really nothing much you can do other than that. So you always must try to keep your AD carry alive and exhaust or ignite whoever is trying to jump on your ADC. Think of your AD carry as an infant, and you're going to protect any harm that comes to it. So as you see in the clip, I tried my best to keep the Caitlyn alive, and unfortunately it does not work out for us. I used all of my abilities and my cooldowns on the Pantheon and exhaust and everything on Pantheon. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep my Caitlyn alive as the Pantheon was very fed, so our ADC was a little caught out, but I did try to keep her alive, and that's the best as I could do, and I ended up losing my life for it as well. Also, we almost got aced for it, so it was just a bad team fight overall, but at least I tried my 100% best to try to help the team out to aid my ADC, but they were coming from all different angles, and unfortunately I wasn't able to peel as best as I could. I mean, I did what I could, but at the same time, we should have been in better position. We shouldn't have been in that situation. So here's just one more example. Pantheon and Darius are trying to flank to the right to actually catch out our Caitlyn. Since she is very squishy, we have good traps and good CC on the Pantheon, and we get the kill on the Pantheon. And we ended up zoning out the rest of their team after we get the kill on the Pantheon. That is their most fed champion at the time. So we ended up peeling for our Caitlyn, and our Caitlyn was able to stay alive due to the fact that I was there supporting the Caitlyn and making sure that she was okay and alive. And this is like an actual team fight that happened inside of our game that we get a full ace on. And this is a stream that I was actually doing for ranked games with the ADC that I was playing with. So this is the team fight. Right here, right here. Yep. GG. Go. GG. End it. So this is why I cannot stress this enough. If you watch this team fight one more time, Caitlyn steps a little too far forward and tries to get assassinated by the Teemo, and then Twitch ends up coming in and trying to kill her as well. Luckily, I have support items like Lock of the Iron Solari and gives big shields for her, and I'm able and smart enough to know that I'm able to kite back for her and peel for her to make sure that she stays alive so she can do the damage that she does. That's why being a support main and knowing the actual role that you're playing inside the lane along with team fights as well is so important, and that's why peel is so great to know. So for this next part, it's choosing your specific support. There is a great variety of supports that you can choose from, especially in Season 6+. I'm going to divide these supports into 3 separate groups: passive supports, aggressive supports, playmaking supports. Your passive supports will include Soraka, Nami, and Janna. Aggressive supports would be Alistar, Leona, and Braum. And finally, your playmaking supports. You got Thresh, Bard, and Blitz. Now, there is more than those 3 champions of those 3 groups, and there's multiple that you can look up as well. And I do place them into 3 groups, but most of these support champions have all 3 of the characteristics and can do a lot of things. Now, there isn't actually a total amount of support champions, since there are a lot of players that do like to change things up a bit and go for a high damage output support, like a Brand or a Lux, to create basically a kill lane, but traditional supports are always best to have. Now it's time for support tips and tricks. Tip number 1. Do not take free damage in lane. It's fine to take damage as long as you're giving it back. Always trade for advantages or trade evenly. Never trade negative. Tip number 2. Only trade with the opposing AD carry unless if you can't reach the ADC in the lane. You may poke the opposing support if the support is in range. Tip number 3. Don't last hit unless your AD is at base. Some do know this rule. Just in case you do not know, never take minion kills while you guys are in the laning phase. The meta is designed so that the AD carries can get as much gold as possible so that they can do tons of damage late game. If you take CS from your carry, bot lane, you will most likely lose and your AD will not be happy. Tip number 4. Time abilities, wards, and neutral monsters. All these are visible in the game. Tip number 5. After you buy a Sightstone for Vision, always get a sweeper to counter enemy wards. Also have 75 gold to get a control ward. So it's always important to buy vision wards for your teammates and stuff like that. So basically, vision wards, when you got 75 gold, always buy them throughout the game. And when you're level 9, also buy an Oracle Alteration, and that'll sniff out any enemy wards as well, and it'll have a wide range for the sweeping lens. So that is also a good tip. And for my last part, most common inexperienced support mistakes. Mistake number 1, inadequate amount of wards placed. Vision is a team's best friend. If you have vision of the enemy, you can predict their movements and be safe of any harm, so please buy Sightstone for your team. And it also is a team effort, so you can't be the only one buying wards and placing wards. Mistake number 2, excessive amount of deaths. Feeding. Supports tend to be squishy early until you get items. Make it your goal not to die early. If you do, make it less than 2 or 3 in the early game. Third mistake, don't insult or tilt your team. This is crucial in any role. A happy team is a winning team. Simple as that. Alright guys, so this will be marking the end of this guide. I hope you got a lot of good insights from this guide, and I hope this will help you understand the support role a lot better. People discourage the support role a lot due to the fact that they think that they cannot carry, but I totally disagree as my stats on op.gg say otherwise. So like I said, this is the site op.gg, and as you can see, I'm 12-6 in my last 18 games. I have 3.4 kills per game, 6.1 deaths per game, and 11.1 assists per game, and I'm 7-3 with Bard in my last 10 games. So I do fairly well, and as you can see, I don't necessarily need to be in a carry role. I hope you guys like this support guide and it gives you a better understanding of the overall role. Please comment anything I've missed or didn't cover in the comments below. As always, like the video if you want to see more and subscribe. This is Marshmallow HD signing out.